What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Vegas 95. We have Sergey Spivak going against Marcin Tybura 2. And yeah, we have only 10 fights on this card, so not a ton to pick from, but did find some spots. The goal for this week is to keep it as light as possible. Honestly, probably should have went lighter. All my spots this week are plus money, so taking some big shots. But yeah, this is not the card to go all out on, in my opinion. I think next week's card, UFC 305, a lot of spots sticking out. We have Dana White's Contender Series coming up as well, so this is not a card I want to go completely crazy on. But like I said, I found some spots. There are some plus money spots I like, so I'll break all those down before we get into. If you guys could like the video, subscribe to the channel, be on the lookout for Best Bet going live at 4 o'clock Eastern time, 1 hour prior to the prelims. The prelims are kicking off at 5 Eastern. They're going to be going live at 4 Eastern time for Best Bet. All right, with all that out of the way, I say we get into it. And as always, going to be breaking down these fights from a betting perspective. If you guys want a more further in-depth breakdown, I posted a full card breakdown video earlier this week. But yeah, we're kicking it off with the first fight of the night. It is Stephanie Luciano going against Talita Carr. This is a fight I'm going to be looking at it from a live bet standpoint because I do truly believe that Carr wins the first round at a very high clip. Luciano, obviously her takedown defense is not great. She showed that, but she's had some time off. She hasn't fought in a while. If she's able to improve that takedown defense, I think she can definitely make the first and second round a lot more competitive than it was in their first fight. And of course, that first fight did go to a draw, but we saw in that first fight, we saw Luciano really starting to take over in that second, third round especially, where she got that 10-8. And I was shocked she wasn't able to finish Carr. But like I said, if she's able to stuff these takedowns better than last time, I feel like the finish could potentially present itself. So, the Luciano finish props, the late 2-3 props are massive numbers, and it's one of those spots where it's like, will they hit? Maybe, but I just feel like it's going to be very, very much on the table when Carr is huffing and puffing 5 minutes into the fight and getting her, face boxed off. So I like the Luciano 2-3 props, a quarter unit on each, plus 1,200 for round 2, plus 1,800 for round 3. I'm surprised they're that high with how the first fight played out because she was really close to getting a finish in their first fight in the third round. But yeah, like I said, also a live bet look for Luciano here. Next, we got Youssef Zalal going against Jarno Errens. Zalal, and pretty much all these money lines this week are just getting blown out. Last week, all the favorites came through, and this week, we have Youssef Zalal as like a minus 500 favorite now. Chris Gutierrez is like a minus 600 favorite now. So I don't know if I love that at all, but what I do like is Youssef Zalal here by submission. It's plus 330. I have a half a unit on it, and then I also sprinkled the Zalal 2-3 props, quarter unit on each, plus 850 for round 2, plus 1,200 for round 3. He talked about in an interview how this is a guy that got cut from the UFC and probably wasn't warranted. This guy Zalal, he was solid in the UFC, but all of his fights went to decision. And it's weird because outside the UFC, all of his fights are finishing inside the distance. This guy has a 100% finish rate outside the UFC. So what I think he's going to do now is I think he's going to start to push the pace more. He's going to start to look for finishes more because that's what they want. So I like Zalal here. I like Zalal inside the distance, but I did play the sub for a half unit and then also the 2-3 sprinkles there. He's a minus 500, 600 favorite. He should be going out there and getting the sub. He's a black belt in BJJ. Jarno Errens, a blue belt. I think there's going to be a level difference on the mat. Next, we got Carl Williams going against Diniz. For me, there are two spots sticking out here. It's either Carl Williams by decision, which I saw at plus 190. If you're on the Carl Williams side, I think that's a solid look. But also Diniz by knockout, it's plus 335. And to me, I feel like just the knockout prop should be much closer to his money line. I was thinking the knockout prop should be plus 200 because I just don't see Diniz winning a decision, and he's obviously not subbing anybody. So yeah, for me, Diniz by knockout I think holds a lot of value at plus 335. Whenever this fight is on the feet, he's going to have knockout opportunities. We see Williams can get takedowns, but he is content to go out there and stand and bang and stand and trade at points in the fight. So yeah, I don't mind a shot on Diniz by knockout. I'm on it for a half unit at plus 335. And like I said, if you're on Williams, I think Williams by decision is the best way to go. Next, we got Karol Hosa going against Pannie Kianzad. This is going to be a pass for me. I like Karol Hosa. I can't get to the minus 200. I think she wins the fight. I think it's probably by decision, but the decision prop is anywhere from minus 130 to minus 150. I'm not in love with that, but I think she wins. If you guys are doing like a parlay this week, which I think a lot of people are, considering these lines are getting smashed, I think Karol Hosa as a parlay piece, it's wide, but I think it hits at the end of the day. So give me Karol Hosa for the win, no bet there. Next, we got Charalampos Gregorio going against Toshiami Kazama. I'm keeping this super light. I probably should even be, fading this fight because I just don't trust Charalampos Gregorio here, especially at minus 250. I don't trust the cardio at all. I think this guy has about 5 to 7.5 minutes of good cardio there. So how I'm playing it is I'm just taking the most likely win condition here, and that's going to be Gregorio by first round knockout. It's plus 300. Putting a half unit on it, just because I feel like if this fight reaches the second round, it's going to get very ugly very quickly. So Gregorio KO1 half unit plus 300. I think it's the most likely scenario in this fight. I don't mind it for a half unit shot. I might be looking to live bet Kazama. Like if this fight reaches the second round, what is Gregorio going to look like? Because his cardio is just not great. But I think he has all the tools to win this fight within the first 5 minutes. Next, we got Santos going against Chelsea Chandler. Another big giant pass. We had Chelsea Chandler with a big giant weight miss, weighed in like over 5 pounds. The fight probably should have been scrapped, but they couldn't afford to scrap it. And for me, it's Santos or pass, but we got to be aware that Chelsea Chandler did cheat big time. She missed weight by 5 pounds, and in theory, she's going to be using that weight advantage here. She's trying to get the fight down to the mat. So yeah, it's just a sketchy fight. Yana Santos, I think, is the better fighter. She shouldn't be losing to Chelsea Chandler, but we've seen crazier things happen. Don't want to get involved in this one. Next, we got Chris Gutierrez going against Kwang Lee. And there's a spot I do like in this fight. I think the leg kick knockout, leg kick TKO is very much in play here for Gutierrez. I like these Gutierrez late 2-3 KO props. I'm on the KO 2-3 combination, half a unit at plus 500. I think he can beat up the legs. And I think it's going to be attritional. Chris Gutierrez isn't really going out there and starching anybody outside of, 40-year-old Frankie Edgar. I think it's going to be attritional. I think these leg kicks are going to add up. The damage is going to add up. Kwang Lee coming in here on short notice. I like Gutierrez to win this fight in the second or third round. Next, we got Danny Barlo going against Nikolai Veretennikov. For me, I like Barlo to win. He's a very popular parlay piece this week. I think, that parlay piece, comes through. But, minus 360, I just can't get there because I do think that, Veretennikov's a very good fighter. I think he's a big step up in competition from, Josh Quinlan. I think he's a big step up from Quinlan for sure. But, Barlow's going to have a ton of advantages here. Barlow's the bigger guy. He's the longer guy. I think he has more volume, more power. I think Barlo wins this fight. It's just minus 360. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than the line does indicate. And there's really not many props I like either. But, yeah, Barlo for me, no bet. Chepe Mariscal going against Damon Jackson. Yeah, I'm probably staying away from this one as well, just due to the fact that Chepe did look awful on the scales, but we've been seeing a lot of these weight missers come out there and win lately. And in theory, Chepe, the weight advantage is going to help him because Damon Jackson's going to be looking to get this fight down to the mat. There's just a lot of ways I could see this fight playing out. Like I could see a Damon Jackson control-based decision where he's getting takedowns. I could see a Chepe Mariscal damaged-based decision where he's landing big shots, hurting Jackson, but not quite getting him out of there. I could see a Chepe early knockout, a Chepe late knockout. Maybe Damon Jackson's able to get him out of there. So with, when there's a fight that I just think it can play out in so many different ways, I just typically like to stay away. So I'm still picking Chepe. Obviously, money's piling on Damon Jackson, but I think a lot of that has to do with the weight miss. But we've seen this, a lot lately where, the guys missing weight have been winning. So just be aware of that. And then lastly, we got the main event. It is Sergey Spivak, Marcin Tybura. I'm on the Tybura side. I have 1 unit on him at plus 140 here. And I'm also on the Tybura 3, 4, and 5 sprinkles. Tybura round 3, 0.2 units plus 1,900. Tybura round 4, 0.2 units plus 2,200. And then Tybura round 5, 0.1 units plus 4,000. And yeah, I like Tybura here. Not much has changed for me, since their first fight, and I thought it was pretty hilarious at weigh-ins. Like, the big argument this week was Sergey Spivak has put on a ton of size. He's put on a ton of weight. How he's going to put on 20 to 30 pounds. And then he shows up at weigh-ins and weighs 238, which is the lightest he's been since their first fight. So it's like that argument kind of gets thrown out the window, and that's literally the only argument I've heard for Spivak this week. And now I guess they're saying that Spivak's in career best shape. So they're kind of changing the narrative there. But yeah, I think it's a close fight. I don't get this line. I don't get the steam on Spivak. I don't. Just going back and watching their first fight, it's like it wasn't close at all. Tybura won 29-28 on one judge scorecard and then 30-27 on the other two. So I just think it's kind of a bad stylistic matchup for Spivak here. So, we'll see. I know Tybura's getting older. Spivak's gotten better. Spivak is in his prime or they're close to it, so we'll see. But I just don't don't get the line here. So I'm on the money line for Tybura and also the 3, 4, 5 round sprinkles. I think he can get on top of Spivak, and I think Spivak has a little bit of quit in him there. So quick recap: Tybura money line, Tybura 3, 4, 5 sprinkles, Gutierrez KO 2-3, half a unit plus 500, Gregorio KO 1, half a unit plus 300, Diniz KO half a unit plus 335, Zalal sub half a unit plus 330, Zalal round 2 quarter unit plus 850, Zalal round 3 quarter unit plus 1200, Luciano round 2 quarter unit plus 1200, Luciano round 3 quarter unit plus 1800. 12 plus money spots. The lowest odds in that is actually the Tybura money line, which is plus 140. So hoping a couple of these come through, but this is a rough card to say the least. And although I'm keeping it light-ish, probably should have kept it lighter, but there are some spots sticking out for sure. So best of luck, everybody, and enjoy UFC Vegas 95. It should be an interesting card nonetheless. Talk to you guys soon. See you.